I think I know why they call it the priest now. On the way up, you feel like you're being punished for something you did. And when you get to the top, you're ready to confess to anything. Good morning, campers. That is a suspension bridge over the Thai River. Right now, I got to go see the priest. No, not for a confessional. The priest is a mountain. It's a 3,000 foot climb, and it's pretty much straight up. I hear there are some switchbacks that'll make it a little bit easier, but it's not my favorite way to start off the morning, a 3,000 foot climb. So I got to do that. I'll stop at the priest shelter, which is about 5 miles. Apparently their logbook is humorous because people confess their sins in the priest shelter logbook. So I guess it makes for some good reading. But I do hear that the privy is full. So I may be digging a cat hole today again. I guess we'll see how that goes. All right, so got to cross US Highway 56 here and continue up the trail. I've been out for an hour, 8:45. I left about 7:45. And I'm about 1.3 miles in. I got about 2.5, 3 miles left of this climb. It's not terribly steep, but it's just constant uphill. And it's warm and it's muggy. It's just sticky. There's no wind whatsoever. You can see the leaves. The trees are not moving at all. There's not a single whisper of wind at all. So I'm just constantly drenching with sweat. I have to keep wiping the sweat off my face or it starts dripping down to my eyes. So it's going to be slow going. I guess I should be thankful that I'm getting this out of the way early before it really gets warm later today because the sun's getting up there already. It's not even 9 a.m. So after this, it's a lot of undulating ups and downs. This is over a 3,000 foot climb. I don't have any climbs today after this that are more than 300 feet that I know of. So there'll be ups and downs, but it won't be like this endless up. This is going to be about 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours of climbing. Tough day. 2 hours in, 3.2 miles so far. Still going uphill. I'm only about 2/3 of the way up. I got about 8/10 to a mile left to get to the peak. Just drenched. I could wring my clothes out right now. Try to stop every 10 minutes instead of 15 minutes. Slug down some water. Wipe the sweat off. This is soaking wet now. Nothing like wiping your sweat off with a sweat-soaked bandana. I'm glad I'm getting this over first thing in the morning. I would not have been able to do this at the end of a long day. Okay. Gotta keep going. Okay, I think I've reached the top of the priest. It's kind of leveled out here. The terrain profile map shows that there's kind of like a flat top to it. I didn't see any summit sign or any nice view or anything. But boy, I do not want to do that again. You couldn't pay me to climb that again right now. That was a chore. That was 2.5 solid hours of uphill. Just sweating profusely, gulping down water. I'm gonna have to suck down a liter of water when I get to the shelter, just to fully hydrate myself. I think I know why they call it the priest now. Because by the time you get to the top, you're so thankful that it's over that you feel like dropping to your knees and rejoicing. Either that, or on the way up you feel like you're being punished for something you did. And when you get to the top, you're ready to confess to anything. So I'm just leaving the pre-shelter after taking a break, and I received some unsettling news. Here I had just climbed, 4 miles straight uphill, 3,000 foot gain, hot and sweaty, having to stop every 10 minutes, soaked with sweat, chugging down water like it's going out of style. I get to the pre-shelter to sit, relax, and have something to eat, and there's flies and bees buzzing around. There's 2 volunteer trail maintainers there, sawing down a tree stump, as you saw there. And the privy's full. I can't use a privy. There was nothing good about that shelter. Well, the water source was good. It was good, clear, cold spring water, so I filled up there. But anyway, I had a signal, so I decided to check because I was expecting a text from my wife about my resupply box, and sure enough, I got that. And then I got another text, and I won't go into too much detail, out of respect for the family's privacy, but friends of ours were on vacation out west, and the husband, I don't know too many details because, again, this is through text, but it was swimming or surfing, something in the ocean, and he got hit by a wave, caught off guard, slammed him head first into the shore, and suffered a spinal injury. Right now he's okay. He's gone through surgery, and they removed a bone fragment that was pressing on his spine, and had to fuse some of his vertebrae or something. I don't know. He's alert and awake. He remembers everything, never lost consciousness apparently. Doesn't have all his feeling in all his extremities. He can move like his feet and one of his arms and stuff, and is talking a bit, and so it's kind of touch and go with swelling and whatnot. I think it's going to be okay. But you get news like that, and you think, Jesus, that could happen to me. I could slip and fall, crack my skull open out here, get bit by a snake. I could get an infection, goes out of control. I mean, you never know. Scary. Here I am, pissing and moaning about climbing uphill. Oh, it's hot. Oh, it's humid. Oh, I'm sweaty. Oh, I'm thirsty. And, I got a friend who's in the ICU. Wishing he could trade places with me, I'll bet. So, man, I hope he's going to be okay. I just hear stuff like that, and I'm like, geez, that's why I'm out here. Because you don't know when something like that might happen to you. So many people around me have been hurt, gotten sick, or died. So, I know I complain sometimes, but I'd rather be complaining out here than, complaining at home, complaining, at work, complaining anywhere. Yeah, this is hard. Yeah, it's tough, and I'll be glad when it's over. But, I have to look at myself as fortunate that I can do this. I'm physically capable, and that I have a good support system at home, and I'm healthy, and there's a beautiful butterfly. I'm going to try to get that on video, but anyway, so that's kind of changed my perspective for today, I guess. Well, butterfly's gone now. Oh well. Okay, I just found a different butterfly and shot some footage of it. Ow! Darn it. Still rocky. So I just want to say, while it's relatively flat here, I can walk relatively normally because I got some ups and downs today. I'm not normally this emotional, but you gotta understand, I've been out here for 5 months. I've never had more than 3 or 4 hours of sleep in a night, even at a hostel. I just can't sleep with people around and noise and the noises of the night, and even with earplugs in and sleeping on an inflatable air mattress on the ground or in a shelter. It's just like, you ever get so tired that you can't sleep? You're like so exhausted, but your body can't let go. That's what it's like every night for me. So I'm just sleep deprived. I'm physically exhausted. I've lost somewhere between 25 and 30 pounds. So I'm just physically at my limit as far as what I'm physically capable of doing at this point. I miss my wife and my dog, and my regular home life. And I'm in pain pretty much every day. Feet, knees, hips, shoulders, or some combination thereof. But still, I'm glad I'm doing this. I'll be really glad to have completed it. But it doesn't take much to kind of, push me over the edge. I'm just walking a thin line at this point, trying to hold it together, just trying to make it through these last 850 miles or whatever I've got left. And it's a good 9-10 weeks ahead of me. So you just get worn out little by little, and it just wears you down, and you never can kind of fully recover even after a week of being at home. I got on the trail and I was just like, oh man, I'm just as sore and just as tired as I was when I left the trail. But the worst of it is behind me, I think. I hope. So I have that to look forward to. And it's also a little bit more solitary experience coming south now, because all the northbounders are long gone. Well, I did meet one guy. He said he's got a late start, and then he had to get off for a few weeks because he got injured. So he was going to flip up to Katahdin once he got to Harper's Ferry to finish Katahdin and then come back down. But pretty much all the northbounders, 99.9% of the northbounders are all gone. And the southbounders haven't caught up to me yet, because they just started in June. So there's no way they've come 1,300 miles in 3 months. Some of the really fast ones will probably catch up to me late September, early October. And then, occasional flip-floppers. I've met, I think, one flip-flopper who I had met in Gorham, New Hampshire. And he's probably ahead of me now, and I probably won't see him again. So, I've camped. My first 2 nights I camped by myself. And I'll probably camp tonight by myself. So it'll be a much more solitary, as I mentioned, solitary experience. Not as many people to talk to. Not as much camaraderie. The hostels won't be as busy. It'll just be a very different experience. So, I kind of got used to being around the same people and crossing paths with people, and getting excited to see someone. Oh my God, I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. Where you been? And, that kind of stuff. There's not going to be very much of that this time. So, anyway, it's just kind of put me into a fragile place where it doesn't take much to kind of tip the scales one way or the other. So, anyway, that's it. So although I'm on a downhill slope now, which is a welcome change from that 4-mile climb up the Priest, it's also littered with all these loose rocks. And that makes it tricky, because your foot can land on one of those rocks and it can just roll underneath your foot like a ball bearing, and your foot goes completely out from under you. So I have to be careful here and not try to go too fast, or else I'm going to land on my butt. That is a mouse in the privy, living behind the screen in the privy here. He's right there. I don't know if you can see him. Moving around a little bit. In any event, in a privy. It's not a particularly nice privy. I'm not going to show you much footage, but that was wild. I'm just leaving the Sealy Woodworth Memorial Shelter. Had a snack break, used the privy, which was not a pleasant experience. Someone had, let's just say, left the toilet seat less than clean. So, I put a curse on them. In any event, it's about 3.8 miles to where I want to camp tonight. It's a little confusing. Gut hook, there's various comments about where there's good stealth camping, and you know, it's hard to tell who's a nobo, who's a sobo. Are they talking about one mile north of that spot, 1 mile south of that spot, about other options? I just assume go a little bit short of that spot, just because I have to pick up water. And if I go to my originally intended spot, it's like a 2-mile hike. It's all pretty much downhill, but I have to carry like 8 pounds of water with me because there's no water at that source or at that camping location. So if there's another stealth spot before it, I'll probably stop there just to spare myself carrying all that weight. It's a little after 3:30. I like to get there by 5:30, 6 at the latest. Okay, I'm back at the trail. There's a sign. So anyway, that's my plan. I'm gonna see what the situation is. I'm gonna get water in about 2 miles, and then I'll start looking for those stealth spots about another mile down the trail. Between the 1 mile and 2 mile mark, past the water source is where I'm going to be looking tonight. I'm going to get set up and get into bed by 7:30 because they're calling for possible rain tonight after 7. So I'd like to be in the tent before then. There's another one of those trees. That looks like a horse or a giraffe or something. It's even got like an eye. And its mouth is open, facing to the right. It's crazy how many times I see something like that. Okay, I just stopped to get some water because the water source that's near the location I want to camp is marked unreliable. And although recently, and a week or two ago, it had good flow, I don't want to take that chance, so I grabbed 2 liters of water. Barely enough for me to cook and clean and enough water for the morning and water to hit the trail in the morning, but I heard a couple of soft rumbles of thunder. Very soft, but enough that I don't want to dilly-dally. I don't want to be sitting on my tent in the rain. So I still got almost 2 miles. So depending on the terrain, it could be about an hour. At least 45 minutes, probably an hour before I get there. So I got to hustle. Hey, so I'm here at my campsite for the night. As you can see, I've got my tent in porch mode. Come around this way. But I only have 1 trekking pole. I have 1 trekking pole here. The other side I tied to the tree. Right? Now, I've done that before. It just saves having to use both trekking poles. And that way I don't need an extra stake. This time, however, I had no choice because one of my trekking poles broke. It actually broke yesterday, way down by the tip, and I shortened that section all the way up so that I could still use it. But today it basically imploded. The thing that was holding the clamp in place, whatever, fell off on the trail. The whole thing just fell apart, and I looked at it and I fiddled with it, and there's just no salvaging it at this point. So I only have one trekking pole for the next 2 days and possibly 3 days until I get to Stanimal's hostel. We can hopefully get another pole or another set of poles. I'm going through poles like nobody's business. I should have carried 3 poles just to be safe. Now, when I get my trekking pole tent, I'll definitely carry 3 poles because I'll need 2 trekking poles to set up that tent. Without 2 trekking poles, I either can't set up the tent or I gotta find like the right size stick or find a stick that I can break off, and that would be a pain in the butt. So anyway, I'm here. Oh, the other thing is when I got here, because I heard that rumble of thunder and the forecast called for rain mostly after 7 o'clock. So I normally start boiling my water, or I get my water and I filter it and I boil it, and then I set up my tent while my water's boiling. I was worried about the rain, so I got here and I just threw my tent up first thing to make sure I could throw everything inside, keep everything dry. And then I cooked dinner, and I just finished eating. I'm about to go brush my teeth and clean up and call it a night. It's 10 minutes to 7. I expect I'll be all cozy in bed about 7:15 or so. And, I got to hang my Ursack, of course. So, yeah, 7:15, 7:20, somewhere around in there. And then I've got about 33 miles to get to Stanimal's with only 1 pole. I was going to try to do like a 17-mile day, then a 16-mile day, or maybe an 18 and a 15 or something like that. With 1 pole, though, I'm going to have to go slower because it's tough on my knees going downhill, and I also use both poles to go uphill. I push like a cross-country skier, I push with my arms. With only 1 pole, I'm only going to be able to push, half as much. So it's going to be more work. It's going to be, more impact on my knees. So I'm thinking now I might do like a 13, 14-mile day tomorrow and Saturday, and then a 5 or 6 mile day, 5, 6, 7 mile day, whatever it is, on Sunday. Get to Stanimal's early, like lunchtime, early afternoon. Get my laundry done, shower, maybe get to the store, resupply, get my resupply box, do everything on Sunday, then Monday get back to the trailhead and hike a full day basically. So that's my plan. But it's been a hell of a day, I gotta tell you. Some other things happened I won't even go into. All right, see you later. Night, night.